power to give it, I like to give it the first time. So if somebody asks me for money, generally, and listen, it's okay, I'm telling you this right out. If you ask me for money, I'm going to give it to you. If I have it, I'm going to give it to you the first time. The second time, I'm going to start thinking about whether or not I'm helping you or hurting you. Right? And I may give you something other than the money then. Hopefully not too bad of a lecture. But something other, right? I've got to decide. But it's the idea of the reason that I want to give when I'm asked is because I don't want to feel like I'm lacking. I don't want to, the reason I want to give freely is because I don't want to get my mindset, I don't want to get it in my head that I can't give. That because if I give, I won't have enough. I want to have it in my mind that there's plenty. That there is plenty, that I have plenty, and that plenty is available, and I want to be generous with what I have. But I don't want to get myself into a situation where I'm continually bailing people out. Well, that's one thing that I generally don't do. I don't bail people out of jail. Maybe a rare occasion where I might, but it would really be, I really would have to consider why I'm doing this. So, yeah, so don't call me about that. So, okay. So this idea of being self-supporting, it has to do with generosity. Because this is what I've learned, is that if I am generous, if I give that which I have, more comes to me. It really does work. I mean, it seems weird. It seems like it can't, because just if you just think about it arithmetically, if I have a certain amount of money and then I give a certain amount of money, that means I have that much less money, right? But it's only for like an instant. It's only for like a little bit. Something, when I give like that, something always comes and flows into its place. That's what I found. But being self-supporting, it has to do with money. It has to do with contributing funds as they are needed. But more than that, being self-supporting and being generous has to do with giving of who we are. That's really the most important thing. But don't get confused. I'm still saying that we can't be worried about money. We can't be miserly. We can't, if we really want to live a fulfilled life, we cannot be all freaked out about money. We need to be generous with it. But more important, we give of ourselves. The Course in Miracles has this it's one section that it's one of the lessons, and it says to have all, give all, to all. Now, if you think about that in terms of the world, that would be like you'd be like putting yourself into this total financial distress immediately. I give all, to have all, give all, to all. I'm not going to have anything if I give all to all. But what it's talking about is to give all of yourself. It's saying to have everything, give everything of yourself to everything. So really what it's talking about is the generosity that we're talking about here in being self-supporting means I'm going to give without hesitation. I'm going to give everything that I can. I'm going to put all of myself, I'm going to invest myself in this relationship. I'm going to totally invest. And boy, you know what? Think about that. You think it's hard to give money. Start thinking about the vulnerability involved if you're going to give your whole self to a relationship. Oh, it's an opportunity to get hurt, right? Oh, something could happen. I don't want to. I mean, I'm in, but I don't know if I'm all the way in, right? Well, let's examine what we're talking about here. Who is it that I am? That's really important. First of all, if I'm going to give all that I am, what is that? What am I? Well, Genesis says that what I am is that I am made in the image and likeness of God. And it says a little bit before that, it says that spirit, that God is spirit. So, okay, so now here I'm starting to get somewhat of a picture. I'm going to give my whole spirit to the relationship. I'm going to give my whole self as being a spiritual being to the relationship. Other places it's defined, it says God is love. In John, it says God is love. So, okay, I'm made in the image and likeness of God. So that means I am love. So I'm going to give my whole love to the relationship. And for working definition, my whole love is I feel connected to you and I desire only good to come to you. So what that means is to have this so I know none of us are really experiencing a perfect relationship with anybody. That's because we keep forgetting who we are. We keep forgetting that we really are all love, and we begin to judge. We separate ourselves. So even in the best of relationships, there are going to be times when we are going to see this judgment, when we are going to judge the other person as being less than. Many times we're going to judge ourselves as being, really not stepping up and giving everything that we can. But that's when we practice. That's when we just relax and say, okay, I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember that I am spirit. I'm going to remember that they are spirit, that we are connected, and that I desire only good to come to them. What it means is every time I have an expectation of someone else, and I realize it, I'm going to release it. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let them be. I'm going to let them be whoever they are, and I'm just going to extend love to them. This is giving all. Giving all means that regardless of what you do, regardless of how you act, I'm going to love you. I've said this probably 1,000 times, more. It doesn't mean you have to live with them. It doesn't mean that you actually have to hang out with them. You don't have to go to dinner. You don't have to even have coffee. You just have to love them. You just have to extend love to them. Every time you think of them, if the judgment comes to mind, release the judgment and extend that love. Feel connected. And there's little exercises that I use. I've told the love the baby story. Many times I will see the person because I see them as irritating. They're crying, they're complaining, they're carrying on. I don't really want to hang out with them. I realize that they're crying because they have needs. They want something. They're looking for something. What they really want is they want love. So I visualize myself holding them like they're a baby, like they're a crying baby. And I'm not in a derogatory way. But just seeing it, or another thing is, I can see myself in my mind, I can see myself just hugging them. This is very helpful to me. I can see myself hugging them. And boy, sometimes there's like some people where you go, I cannot see myself hugging them. I just cannot get it in my mind. So I trick myself and I'll say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to see somebody in my mind who I know I love, and I'm going to see myself hugging them, and then I'm going to change their face to the other person. So these are all just these little techniques, and they really do work. And what happens is, and in the first service we were saying this, that the first thing I need to remember is to breathe. Breathe. Just stop for a second. Take a breath and realize what you're doing. You're breathing in, being filled with life. Breathing out, I'm giving love. Because if I get that symbol in my mind, that my breath is a symbol for the way the world works, that I'm continually receiving life as I breathe in, and I'm continually giving love as I breathe out. And so as I breathe out, I'm giving love to the green and growing things. They take what I breathe out, and then they return oxygen to me to breathe in. So I'm loving them, and they're loving me. It's a symbol, but it's helpful to me to think about that. That the world itself and the way I interact in the world is a symbol for reality. And so this is how I want to see it. As I move through the world breathing, just breathing, I am receiving and I'm giving. And I'm calm because I am focused on my breath. I'm calm, I'm at peace. And therefore, when I am guided to do something, I actually know the difference between my ego talking and spirit talking. So I want to be self-supporting. I want to give all to all in order to have all. Now, this is another thing about identity, that when we remember that what we are is spirit, and if we have even an intellectual idea that perhaps all there is spirit, then that means that in reality, I already have everything because I am everything. I mean, I am everything in the sense that we're all part of it, right? So the new sign that's going up for next week for the third tradition is everybody in, nobody out. Everybody in, nobody out. This is the secret to harmonious relationships. To not punish people by putting them outside. I mean, I know probably you don't like make people go outside and sit on the front steps until you settle down, but it could happen, right? Go, get away. Nobody out in my mind. I need to not be separating myself from others in my mind, no matter how they act. I may actually physically have to go outside and sit on the steps. I may have to go across town. I may have to go somewhere else for a while physically. But what I want to do in my mind is see myself as one with them, because that's the truth. And it's when I see myself as not one with them that I suffer. Okay, so I'm going to end with this. 2 pieces. I'm sharing. Today, I do my share. As I move through this day, I will joyfully take part in all of the work that needs to be done. I will not avoid my portion of the labor, because if I do, I cheat myself out of being a part of. I will do all the things that need to be done by me and realize that it is a great blessing to be able to do so. I will contribute whatever resources I have. At times I may share my money. At other times I may have a talent that is needed, or time. Or sometimes it may just be that someone needs my attention. Whatever it is, I share without thought of lack, with every intention of reaping the benefit of the generous act itself. Today I do my share, and by doing so, I gain a share of the good. But I am a facilitator. I will allow others to do their part. It is important to remember that everyone needs to contribute to life. And all of us feel better when we contribute to the common good. So sometimes I'm so anxious to be of service that I do things for others that they should actually be doing for themselves. This stunts their growth. So let's not cheat anyone else out of their good. From time to time, we have to step back and allow others to do what they need to do without our interference. And if someone asks for help, we give it, as long as it seems right. And so it goes. We do our part, and we allow others to do theirs. We give our family and our coworkers and our friends words of encouragement, and then we allow them to do their part. That's enough.